There was something about the way he looked at me, like he could see past the surface straight into the quiet ache. I carried every day. His gaze didn't ask for anything, but it lingered just long enough to make me feel exposed. There was warmth in it. Yes, but also something unspoken, like here. Recognized the way I smiled for the world while silently longing to be held, to be seen. It wasn't wrong. Not then, just a feeling. A whisper in the space between us. Whenever we were near, I never meant to feel anything for him. But there it was, growing quietly. The way he stood close lingered just a little longer, or how his voice softened. Just for me. It all white self into the corners of my heart until I couldn't look away. He had been part of our lives for years. My husband's best friend, practically family. Their ladder often echoed through our home, shared memories thick with time and trust. I admired their bond, respected it deeply. But something had shifted. It wasn't obvious. Not something I could name, just attention. A glance held across the dinner table, too long a pause when we passed in the hallway, a silence that wrapped itself around us and said everything we couldn't. I told myself I was imagining things, that I was just tired or craving something soft in a world that had grown too loud. He never said anything inappropriate. Never crossed a line, but there it was in the way. He remembered things I'd said weeks ago, in the way he helped with what my husband. Forgot that kind of attention does something to a person. It seeps in, makes you feel visible in a way you didn't realize you were missing one evening. We were alone outside the summer heat, pressing gently against the air. Everyone else had gone inside. He handed me a glass of water and our fingers brushed, barely, but enough to send something sharp and warm rushing through me. "You look tired lately," he said, his voice low. "Are you okay?" I nodded too quickly. "Just busy," I replied. But he didn't believe me. His eyes held mine gently, unwavering. "You don't have to say you're fine if you're not," and something in me faltered. I didn't cry, I didn't speak. But my silence must have told him more than I ever could. He didn't press, just sat beside me, close enough that I could feel his presence, like a soft shelter. And for a moment, I leaned into it. We never spoke about it, but from that night everything felt different. I saw him through new eyes, how he moved, how he listened, how he carried kindness without asking for anything in return. My husband, good as he was, had grown distant, used to the comfort of routine. He loved me, I knew that, but he'd stopped really seeing me. And in that absence, something else had quietly bloomed one afternoon. He stopped by. When my husband was at work, he was dropping something off a forgotten toolbox. I invited him in. For coffee. It was innocent. I told myself we laughed, small things, but then there was that pause again, that silence that held too much. I shouldn't come by when he's not there. He said, "I know." I whispered, but we didn't move after a while. He stood, sat this cup down, and looked at me. "You deserve to be asked how your day was. To be looked at like you. Matter." I couldn't speak, my chest ached with all the things I wasn't allowed to say. He turned toward the door, then back. He's like a brother. I'd never break that. I just wish things were different. And then he left. I didn't sleep that night. I thought about everything we hadn't said. What it all meant. We both knew this wasn't a line we could cross, but still the feeling had taken root, something deeper than attraction, something like recognition. The next week, he came by again, but this time he wasn't alone. A woman was with him, soft-spoken, graceful, a friend from work. He said they looked comfortable together. I smiled, but inside I felt something twist. Maybe I had misread it all. Maybe he was just kind. But a few days later, he returned alone. We sat on the porch and he told me, "She's good, but she's not the one." He looked at me raw the only time. I felt that was with someone I can't have. I told him he couldn't say that. "No," he said, "but it's true. After that, we saw each other less." I think he knew it had to be that way. But I still felt him in my thoughts. In the stillness, time passed. My husband and I found our rhythm again. He became more present, more attentive. I didn't know if he sensed something or just woke up to the quiet distance between us. But we reconnected in small ways. And still that part of me, the one he touched without ever laying a hand, remained. Then one day he came by again, my husband welcomed him like always, and I played the part. But later on the porch, he joined. "You ever think about that day?" Hesked. I nodded all the time.